What's up, y'all? Talon here, back with another series of rank battles featuring top rental teams in the Regulation G format. Today I have a team that was piloted by Michael Der Bestie, Michael Kelsch, all the way to a championship at the Stockholm Regional. Donald Smith also got a top 8 with this team with a slight change, the Pelipper being a Tera Grass Muddy Water variant compared to Michael's Tera Fairy Muddy Water version. I actually recorded the battles with the Tera Grass Muddy Water version before Michael ended up winning the whole event, so I ended up switching it over for the rental code. I'll have the Pokepaste with the EV spreads for this team in the description below, as well as the rental code. If Michael ends up releasing the Pokepaste with all the EV spreads, as well as an updated rental code, I will post that in the comment section just so that, I'll pin that. Make sure you look at that to verify whether Michael has posted that or not, as well as follow him on Twitter, as well as Donald on Twitter. I'll have all that in the description. If you enjoy these videos as a resource, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, let's get into a breakdown of this team now. So a lot of the picks on this team are very unconventional. The Zamazenta is actually probably the most conventional thing aside from the Chien-Pao on the team. So Zamazenta is the main restricted on this team. It's not opting for the Iron Defense set, but more of a utility Body Press, Heavy Slam, Wide Guard set. So Body Press for huge damage, Heavy Slam able to hit the ghost types that Body Press obviously can't hit into, as well as poison types like Amoonguss for pretty good damage if you're not intimidated. And then Wide Guard is great utility against Calyrex Shadow, Kyogre, etc., and just walls a lot of the Pokemon in the metagame and lets Zamazenta and the team stick around a lot further. It's also really effective for walling out Calyrex Ice with all the flying types on your team. Your Moltres and your Rillaboom can be pretty good answers to Calyrex even in Trick Room if you have Wide Guard on the field. So yeah, that's a really cool synergy. And I do think this is indicative of what we're going to see for Zamazenta in the future. I think the Wide Guard set is stronger than the Iron Defense set, just like using Zamazenta, oddly enough, as the only restricted where it's not the centerpiece of the team, but more of a strong support that also enables its teammates is a really smart call for a Pokemon like this. I think what's cool about Zamazenta is it's one of the few restricteds where all the matchups feel pretty neutral, just come down to play or how you build the team. So I feel like we're going to see a lot more of Zamazenta. It's interesting that people are rating Miraidon, Zamazenta, kind of like B tier, maybe lower A tier, but they're the two that have won regionals so far. Just indicative that although the other restricteds are strong, maybe the team building is a little lazy, needs to be a bit more refined, or maybe it's being over-targeted, but yeah, just an interesting trend that I noticed in that regard. Having tested the team, I think my main takeaway is that Chien-Pao Zamazenta is actually just very, very strong. Sword of Ruin boosts your body presses to insane level. You don't really need Iron Defense, you just need Sword of Ruin to be taking crazy KOs, or just doing a 2-hit KO to pretty much everything on the field, and the speed and power of Chien-Pao is also appreciated into things that would otherwise be annoying for Zamazenta. Just Body Press sometimes leaves things a little short of a KO, so having something to clean it up in Sucker Punch is very good. And speaking of things to be cleaned up, Rillaboom's Grassy Glide, just insane at cleaning things up. This is actually a Choice Band Tera Grass set, so next to Sword of Ruin with the Tera Grass, you're taking absurd KOs. Even without the Tera Grass, it's really nice. One of the annoying things for Zamazenta is Urshifu Rapid Strike, because it can use Surging Strike and do about a 2-hit KO, especially if they Tera Water, if they have a Pelipper on the field. You don't want to have to commit your Tera Grass to deal with that and then get maybe beaten by another Pokemon later in the game that beats the Forced Tera. So having the Rillaboom with a Choice Band Grassy Glide that'll just 1-hit KO even without using a Tera is definitely a really good hindrance for other Urshifu. Woodhammer with the Choice Band, obviously doing insane damage, and if you're actually at neutral with Chien-Pao on the field, high horsepower knocks out Incineroar, so insane damage, and I like the ability to lead it, and if you see a situation where maybe you don't want to be going for the Grassy Glide or another move, you can just U-turn out and still do pretty sizable damage. Moltres is the next thing that catches my eye, and I kind of wasn't a huge fan of it, but after testing it and seeing how, there's 2 Wide Guard Pokemon on the team, just to skip ahead, haven't covered the Pelipper yet, but the ability to leave the Moltres on the field against Calyrex Ice teams is really easy when you have a Wide Guard Pokemon on the field, and you have 2 on this team. If you have Wide Guard in the field next to the Moltres and you haven't Terra'd, you can just freely go for Fire Wrath and Foul Play and wall out a high horsepower Calyrex, so it's a really cool Moltres set. The Black Glasses boosts your Foul Play damage to crazy amounts. If you Tera Dark, you're 1-hit KO and Calyrex in one shot, which is something not a lot of Pokemon in the metagame can do. You have Tailwind to support the rest of your team against maybe slower balanced teams. You don't have to play the Speed Mirror, just boost up and take advantage of that. I've actually gotten in situations where late game, get the Tailwind up with Moltres, bring the Rillaboom back in, and going for Tera Grass, Choice Band, Grassy Glides is scary. When you have the speed advantage, you can hit Choice Band, Woodhammer. That's when things start to get pretty insane in the damage department. And then we have the Pelipper, which is overall pretty standard, but a Tera Fairy Rocky Helmet set because the Focus Sash set is taken on the Chien-Pao. Wide Guard, obviously very good utility for the rest of the team, a lot of Ice Weeks, and then last Ice Week is the Latios, which honestly is the Pokemon that I don't understand the most. You still do crazy damage with Draco Meteor and Luster Purge with the Soul Dew, but I'm not entirely sure what this Pokemon is for. I wasn't able to use it to great effect in the battles, but yeah, you do have Luster Purge, which lowers special defense at a 50% hit rate, Protect because it's kind of a glass cannon, and then Icy Wind to allow the Rillaboom to outspeed some stuff as well, and then Draco just is a huge tanky move. And then Draco is just a nuke that you drop when your Latios is probably going to be going down this or next turn. So overall, really cool team. I believe it was piloted by Keanu to a top 8 in the previous regional. I've heard rumblings that this team is kind of associated with Andrew Zhang. He's definitely a Zamazenta fan, so maybe we see this team pop up in Los Angeles regionals in the upcoming weeks to great effect as well, so definitely something to have on your radar. If you like the team, you want to try it for yourself, of course I have the rental code in the top right of the video. If Michael ends up posting his rental code, I'll have that in the description, as well as posted in the comment section below. If you want the EV spreads, also in the description in the Pokemon Showdown export on Pokebin, so yeah, check that out. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the channel, and with all that being said, let's get into battles now. Up against Revali, Revali's Gale, favorite ability in Breath of the Wild, of course, and they have the Calyrex Balance team with 2 grass types. We have a lot of Terra Grass on our team, so I'm very happy about that, as well as Wide Guard and Azama. I'm pretty happy about this this matchup, honestly. They really struggle against Terra Grass, I would say. I could set up Rain, I don't think that's necessary. Latios is kind of crazy, honestly, outside of getting Dracoed, it's a bit annoying there, but Rillaboom can do a ton of damage. I feel like it's probably just Moltres lead. Well, I just need to beat their Raging Bolt, right? So as soon as I beat the Raging Bolt, I win. If I get a little chip into the Calyrex, I can Sucker Punch it, I can Grassy Glide it, beat it that way. High Horsepower also good against the Raging Bolt, kind of unexpectedly. Yeah, last Mon is probably going to be... Latios is kind of interesting here. It does well against a lot of their Pokemon, so I think I will go with that. And surely I can't do that, right? I think Moltres is has to come against Calyrex Shadow, I have to imagine. Though they're usually Terra Fairy. If I can force that out, then I can just Heavy Slam them with the Calyrex Shadow, so I think that's a fine trade for me. What I do have to be careful of is letting them get a Nasty Plot up and then being forced to Terra into Terra. If they're Terra Fairy Psychic Nasty Plot, that's an issue. If it's Psyshock, it's less of an issue because they hit weaker into our Zamazenta, but yeah. It's a strong matchup here, but they can have some surprise techs that will, be effective against us. Calyrex Rillaboom, that's fine. They get Fake Out pressure on the board, but not a lot of damage immediately. They can kind of go for a free attack here. They can double me, but I kind of just Heavy Slam, put them in range, and then... I'm not Sucker Punching here. I might even Ice Skull Crash the Calyrex. Or Protect. Protect's decent. Because... yeah, if they break the Sash, that's fine, because I can just Sucker Punch them next turn. I could have also Sacred Sworded the Zamazenta, or the Rillaboom here, because a Rillaboom, or I guess it would just be Body Press into that, but okay, they're going to Fake Out. Not going to do that much damage, and we'll heal it back up. But they go for Astral Barrage, fair enough. I think Wide Guard actually activates before Fake Out, so I could have blocked that, but it's not even a 2-hit KO on my Chien-Pao, which is good. And we're going to heal up a lot of HP. We knock out the Rillaboom, or at least get it pretty close to it. And now, I can kind of just double Protect, right, if I want to. Or Heavy Slam Sucker Punch. They can Nasty Plot, but if they do that, it's not the end of the world, because again, I get Rillaboom in, I can go for a Grassy Glide, knock it out. Should I just Body Press, Protect? It's tempting. They don't have a lot of good switch-ins, but it might just be a switch into Amoonguss at this point, which I have to be aware of. I think I'm going to Heavy Slam them and Protect. Because Grassy Glide plus a Heavy Slam won't knock me out. Or Grassy Glide plus Astral Barrage won't knock me out unless they maybe crit one. Or go for a Terra Ghost or a Terra Grass. Either of which I'm fine forcing them to burn. And this should let me, unless they protect the Calyrex, force a Protect. Or get some damage to break the Sash. But they're probably switching Amoonguss here. Urshifu, that's interesting. That's probably Choice Scarf. Which is annoying. We get our protect off first, which indicates they did not attack. Or they did attack, rather. They didn't protect, which is fine. Now I'll get Sucker Punch into their Calyrex, and Heavy Slam's going to do a lot, honestly. Yep. That's cool, and we hit them with the Heavy Slam for a ton of damage. Yeah, that's in range of Sucker Punch even after they Terra Fairy, probably. The only question is, do I preserve the Zamazenta at this point? I think this is probably just Sucker Punch. Like, if they lock Surging Strike, that's fine, right? Is it? It's not great. Should I Terra Grass to get out of that? Maybe? That'd be cute. I might just preserve my Terra Grass on Rilla, though. Or something. I think I like Body Press Sucker a fair bit. I think switch to Rilla Sucker would have been great as well, because they are just pressuring Fake Out next turn, which is problematic, actually. I guess it's not that bad, because I can get my... yeah, I get a ton of damage on the Urshifu. Wow, that would have knocked out if Chien-Pao was still on the field. Or I guess it still is on the field, but it's in Sucker Punch range now, so effectively fine. That did so much damage, wow. Zamazenta is crazy next to Chien-Pao. That damage was absurd. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the potency of this combo. So we actually saw that we are faster than their Urshifu, which is really good to know because we can now go for a Rillaboom switch in. I can U-turn if I want to. Like I can go for a Grassy Glide. Sacred Sword. How many turns of Grassy left? 2 turns? Yeah, so I'll get 2 off or go into a Protect. It should just be Grassy Glide. Sacred Sword, maybe? I don't want to lose my Pokemon here just yet. I doubt it's Terra Ghost on the Urshifu. That'd be pretty crazy. So I'll go for the Grassy Glide. It's going to do a lot to anything except for Incin on switch in. Or Amoonguss, but those are definitely viable. Ooh, Electro Fury at the Raging Bolt. That makes sense, but... Ooh... If I get Tailwind up, I can spam High Horsepower and close. It's gonna do a lot, though. Electro Web is now looking really dangerous against me. And a Thunderclap probably knocks me out. If I can keep Electric Terrain on the board, I'll beat their Thunderclap, Dragon Pulse, because they're leftovers almost certainly. Taking a lot of damage on the Chien-Pao. I don't have Fake Out on the board. They don't have Intimidate. Okay. If they start getting Calm Minds up and I'm in some trouble here, and they haven't used their Terra yet, which is bad news. I'm going to go Moltres, and I think Sucker Punch the Urshifu is so obvious here. They can just Aqua Jet double me. If they do that, am I in trouble? I don't think so, because I can lock into High Horsepower. So I'll go for that. It might be a Thunderclap here. If it is, great play. But otherwise, I should just have Ice Cold Crash into the Urshifu for a knockout into anything that switches in. But they are going for a Terra on the Raging Bolt, it looks like, so they're going to be able to beat my Moltres 1v1, which is annoying. I wonder if Latios would have ended up being a good call here. I don't think so. I feel like I still would have lost the Raging Bolt, but them actually going for that means Grassy Glide could clean them up really hard. We miss Icicle Crash, we miss the Icicle Crash, so they're going to be in range and we'll actually get knocked out here. That stinks. Okay. That's not over though, because we have Choice Banded Rillaboom. The question is that going to knock out the Raging Bolt after they've Calm Minded? Oh, that stinks. That damage would have been so nice for Woodhammer to knock it out. That's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. Terrain's going to wear off this turn, which is cool, but that's super frustrating. Rillaboom, Adamant, Choice Banded. to a Terra Fairy would have knocked out after that. That's super frustrating. It's not over though because they have to go for offense, right? I think they might try and pivot in the... Yeah, this isn't over. Because what I can actually do is still Terra Grass knock it out. I'm pretty sure. And that feels really good. Yeah, I think that has to be my play. They can protect the Raging Bolt, which is like fair, but if they do that, do I lose? Maybe, maybe not. I kind of have to read if they do or not, because if they close combat, then they can Thunderclap me to close it out. Or just protect opportunely. I don't know. I think I have to get Tailwind up here though, and just hope they make a misplay. Everything's in range of Fire Wrath at this point. If we can knock out the Raging Bolt this turn, they might be thinking that they can live a turn. But yeah, the Icicle Crash was really unfortunate. Because then I probably could have locked into Terra Grass Grassy Glide instead, and not have had to worry about Thunderclap. But the Urshifu's going to protect. Alright, buddy. Terra Grass Woodhammer versus one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game. Let's see if we get it. We do knock it out in one hit. That is actually really, really difficult for them to come back from. We're going to do a lot of HP back to ourselves, but with Grassy Terrain healing, we're going to heal it all back up. So, missed the Icicle Crash, and the end game or the early game went a little sketchy. Got a lot of early damage off, but looks like the Tailwind Moltres plus the Woodhammer Choice Banded Rillaboom might be enough to get us there. And I'm a very fast Rillaboom, so the Calyrex won't have a chance to outspeed us. We actually outspeed Timid Pelipper, so no fear here. Yeah, and the early damage into the Rillaboom is excellent. Now they are what? They're down on defense. I don't think I let them. Is Fire Wrath even a knockout here? I'd expect so because of black classes, but it's going to be close. I think it's just safer to go for that though, especially since I don't need the Woodhammer to win anymore. I just need... Yeah, they're going to fake out the Rillaboom, which is fine, but I think Fire Wrath will 2-hit KO the Urshifu, and that's all we need. Because I think we'll have enough Tailwind turns to win. Yeah, and we knock out the Urshifu anyways because of the black classes and the defense drop in the close combat. If they had gone for a Surging Strikes to knock out the Chien-Pao earlier in the game, I might have had to go for a foul play there. Make a bit more of a read on whether they go for... Well, they already protected that turn, so I guess in that situation, I would have just foul played and knocked them out. But yeah, really, really close game, but you do see the value of the Terra Grass Rillaboom there. Knocking out one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game from neutral is a really, really impressive feat. Alright, we'll just lock that in and confirm we have Tailwind on our side. We do. But thankfully this thing doesn't learn Dazzling Gleam, so they never had a chance against the Moltres as soon as we knocked out the Raging Bolt. So they did have to Terra to avoid the Icicle Crash. Turns out if they had just played towards the mist, they probably would have won because a high horsepower from Choice Band wouldn't have KO'd. But yeah, really close game. Okay, we have Whimsicott Tailwind with an Ogerpon and an Urshifu, probably dark. You can see Urshifu Water and Ogerpon together, but typically it's going to be only one water type. Do feel like Moltres is strong here outside of everything, but the Fluttermane's an issue, definitely, but I think the Zamazenta actually covers a lot of their team pretty well with Wide Guard. But I don't want to... I think late game the Moltres could be pretty good, but I think early game might be a bit of an issue. I can try and, like, just get a cheeky U-turn or Grassy Glide early game with Rillaboom. I think that's a smart play. I think this is probably not going to be the one for the Latios against an Urshifu Dark, an Incineroar, etc. Not that good. Pelipper with Wide Guard could be strong in the late game, but I don't necessarily want to enable Ogerpon's damage output that much, because they can do a lot with a crit, but I guess they'll be knocking out everything anyways. Chien-Pao Sucker Punch is definitely going to be good, though. But do I want Chien-Pao or do I want Moltres in the back to set up my own Tailwind? I could see Tailwind being really strong. But is it necessary? I think Moltres is decent here. I'm just going to take a lot from Moonblast on the Whimsicott and like everything else, so I think I'll go Chien-Pao. I think the offense is going to lend me a little better than trying to just time Tailwind more effectively than my opponent. Given they have Prankster and a lot of offense, I think that's going to be a pretty big ask if they ever have Whimsicott plus anything else on the field against Moltres is going to be really hard to redirect attention and get the Tailwind up. Whimsicott plus Urshifu, and that is the water one. Okay, eating my words. That's fine though, they don't have priority blocking. And I kind of feel like if I Terra Grass, can I not just, like, what am I worried about on this one? Not a lot, right? I could maybe even Grassy Glide Body Press them and be in a great spot. Body Press, Grassy Glide knocks them out. Would you be anything but Choice Scarf on this team? I'm not sure. So I think what I'll go for is actually Body Press, Grassy Glide. Like, I guess it could be Charm Whimsicott, but no, we're just going to get the Grassy Glide and knock out the Urshifu in one hit. I'll definitely take that. So Rillaboom, unless it Terra Grasses, can't normally knock out Urshifu, but with the Choice Band, of course, that does flip that on its head. They maybe expected a Terra Dark or a Terra Grass there, but we're going to 2-hit KO the Whimsicott. In Sword of Ruin, I'd expect that's in range of a Grassy Glide, but I'm probably not going to get to that point. I'm not going to let them. Notably, Fairy-type moves neutral into this Pokemon. Oh, this is definitely Wide Guard. Okay, buddy. Here we go. So this set is like meant to really terrorize these sort of things. We're also max speed, so we just have to hit the Calyrex a little bit, and then we'll be able to clean it up. Heavy Slam. Do I let them get Tailwind up? Do I need to Trick Room, or do I need to Terra Grass? I don't think so. What would I use Terra for this game? Terra Grass isn't useful. I might just Terra Grass the Rillaboom. In Wide Guard, that should be solid. As they lock me in a Body Press, I think that's fine. This also gets, yeah, the Wide Guard forces them to lock me into, if they Encore me, then I'll be locked into Wide Guard, which is like, okay, your Calyrex can't go for Astral Barrages, I'll take that. And they didn't Terrastalize any of their Pokemon this turn because our Rillaboom puts the Sunflower on its head first. Helping Hand, oh, that better not be Astral Barrage, my friend. We might have our first disconnect here. Alright, Shiny Zama, put in the work with the Wide Guard. Let's see how much damage this does. It probably doesn't KO, given this is a legendary Pokemon, but it got close, and that's all that matters. Okay, they Psychic. That will knock us out, for sure. Oh, it doesn't? Yeah, that might be Curtains then. That is really crazy. We are very specially defensive on this Rilla. I put more than you would expect for a Choice Band set. I have a lot of speed, less attack than you would think, but a lot of speed and special defense to be able to tank special type attacks. I believe Choice Specs Terapagos is what I can take. Okay, they're probably going to Moonblast my Rilla, which is like fine because they haven't gotten Tailwind up. So we can just Grassy Glide, Heavy Slam, and given they didn't Encore, we're chilling here. Moonblast, that's fine, and we will trade the Rillaboom for an Urshifu and most of a Calyrex. Definitely something I'm happy to see. And if they don't have a Fairy-type coverage move, then we actually wall them out with Wide Guard plus the Dark-type Chien-Pao, because they can't hit us with Astral Barrage, and they can't hit us with a Psychic on the Chien-Pao. Would they have in the back? Maybe Ogerpon? That could be annoying. I could Muddy Water that, but I don't think I should risk that, because I could risk giving them a knockout with Psychic. Flutter's fine, though. Flutter's A-okay. Can they knock out my... So I have a Focus Sash and a very bulky Pokemon on the team, or on the field right now. I might just have a knockout into that Calyrex if I play this right. The only question at that point is, can I beat the Fluttermane with Pelipper in the back? And it's actually maybe trickier, given I've already Terra'd. Like, this endgame might be trickier than it looks. They haven't Terra'd anything else. They're special attack boosting, which means I'll outspeed them with my Chien-Pao in the late game, so maybe I just go for a Heavy Slam Protect, bait out a Terastallization, I think. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. Should be Heavy Slam, knock out the Calyrex, and then honestly Icicle Crash it, because If they go for Astral Barrage, Dazzling Gleam, Terra Fairy, and if it knocks out Zamazenta, I think I could lose. But they're going to Terrastalize that in front of just like expecting Sucker Punch. Okay, Terra Dark, that also makes sense. I have seen Terra Dark, Dark Pulse, Calyrex, getting rid of Nasty Plot for that. But they go for Astral Barrage, they're going for the double spread move, they recognize that's how they win. But if this combo doesn't knock out Zama, which it looks really unlikely to do when I hit the Crash, which we do, this Heavy Slam will redirect into the Flutter Mane, and given we saw Booster Energy, we will knock them out. So just a question of if they Moonblasted my Zama and it knocks out at this point. And no, they Dazzled. So they were hoping for a crit there. I think if they had gotten it on maybe the Astral Barrage, they would have gotten very close on the Zama, but other than that, nope, gonna knock out the Flutter. And that's where the Zama comes in really effective. Once we got rid of the Urshifu, they couldn't crit through my defense boost, and then it's pretty bulky on the special side, even though it is predominantly on the physical side. So really great showcase for that Pokemon, and the damage is just really impressive on the Rillaboom, and when you have both the defensive powerhouse of Zamazenta and the offensive powerhouse of Rillaboom on the field at the same time, it's really hard to pick your poison and how you're going to navigate the endgame, especially when you don't even know it's going to be a Choice Band Rillaboom. So good game to my opponent, not a lot they could have done there that first turn, especially if they're a Choice Scarf Urshifu with Terra Water. Whoa, really offensive Koraidon team. It actually looks 4 out of the 6 Pokemon on this team are actually the same that Rajan Ball got the first place at the Indianapolis Regional, but he's replaced the Miraidon with a Koraidon and the Ursaluna with a Chi-Yu, so similar vein, but pretty different at the same time. I think Latios is quite strong here. Outside of the Chi-Yu, it depends on the Koraidon speed, but if we get Tailwind up, it could be huge. I like the Moltres, honestly. Pelipper Rain could be really solid for us here. The damage output from the Chi-Yu, kind of concerning, but if I lead Zama Moltres, I can maybe just switch out to Pelipper. And then do I like Rillaboom in the back? Not really, given the Farigiraf and the Plentable Fire types, so who do I go for then? Most likely Focus Sash Chien-Pao gives me the best odds in this game. I feel like the Latios stays on the bench a lot of the time. It might just have a few matchups where it's really effective, but we haven't queued into them yet. I think teams where it's a lot more focused on the non-restricted Pokemon, because Latios doesn't have a great restricted matchup against most of the Pokemon in the metagame. But the non-restricted, the Dragon-type coverage is actually pretty strong against, as well as Psychic. Deals with Urshifu, Amoonguss, and then the Dragon-type coverage, really good against the Fire, Water, Grass Pokemon. Koraidon for Farigiraf. So kind of mirroring, could be similar to the Miraidon once again, but I feel like I can kind of just switch out into the... Oh, the Pelipper, kind of. Not really, because I'm still going to take a big chunk from the Koraidon, but I should probably just go for Switch Protect. So the issue is, I'm not a Zacian, I'm actually weak to fighting type attacks, so I would probably still fold to a Collision Course in Sun. Out of Sun, it's a little trickier, but Body Press is probably going to be a 2-hit KO, but I don't think that's that favorable of a trade for me. I might be able to force a Terra, I don't know. They might just Collision Course into my Pelipper here. They're going to Helping Hand. That might just be a Flare Blitz or a Collision Course, hopefully Flare Blitz into the Pelipper. But could be into the Zama as well. If I get an Iron Defense up here, they're kind of in trouble. But yeah, they go for that Collision Course. I think we'll tank with the Rain up, truthfully. And who can they switch in here? Literally nothing loves taking a Muddy Water, so I'm going to go for that. And should I double it? Muddy Water, they're what, expecting Hurricane? Maybe a Amoonguss? They might apply Fake Out Pressure. Body Press covers everything anyway, so I think it's actually unnecessary to go for a Hurricane, or unnecessary to go for anything other than Body Press, Hurricane into the Koraidon, even though they likely protect here. But they are going to Terra, interesting. I still think with Rocky Helmet Pelipper, we should be in a good spot. They are Terrastalizing Terra Fire, yep, so Muddy Water would have covered that and hit the other slot, but it also could have missed. Now if we... I think no matter what this turn, unless they crit a Collision Course, we'll knock them out. Because I really doubt, without the Rain boost, the Sun boost, the Collision Course will knock out the Zama. It is a really cool animation, though. Okay, I stand corrected. I had to Terra there? Interesting. So Muddy Water would have been way better here. And they knock out my restricted in one hit. That's pretty unexpected, but it is what it is. I guess it's now Moltres, unfortunately. Gotta be. And I might go Tailwind, Muddy Water. Yeah, do I live? Is that Choice Banded actually? +1 Collision Course versus Zamazenta isn't a knockout. That has to be CB. So if they're Choice Banded, I think they can actually go for a Helping Hand and still knock out my Moltres. Yeah, they can. I'm going to Protect here then. Muddy Water Protect. Sketchy. Ah, they switched. We could have gotten Tailwind up. Psyched myself out. Yeah, them getting Tailwind up will be bad, but they can't Encore my Moltres at least, so that's good. Gosh. Yeah, if we had Muddy Watered that turn, we'd probably just win. Muddy Water's a big hit on the Farigiraf. They're going to Terra Blast my Pelipper though, chipping it down lower and lower, which is really not great. Let's get Chien-Pao in, I think, and... Yeah, that Terra Blast is going to knock me out now, so what do I have to do? Probably just Tailwind, Fire Wrath another turn, and then knock out the Farigiraf somehow. Sucker Punch isn't going to knock out the Koraidon, unfortunately. Yeah, I should have Muddy Watered just reading the Terra Fire. I don't know my role well enough on the Body Press that turn, that's why I didn't go for it. But they're going to Tailwind and probably Terra Blast and break my Sash, but I think I should be able to knock out the Whimsicott with Icicle Crash and then Fire Wrath the Farigiraf. That's not a 2-hit KO, which is cool, because I'll have some leeway and maybe missing an Icicle Crash. We've already broken their Sash, though, so that's good. And they won't knock out my Pokemon if I go for this, right? Do I Terra Dark? I might actually be able to lock into Terra Ghost in the late game with the Chien-Pao, so I'm going to preserve the Terra here, even though this maybe makes the roll a little tighter. We missed the Icicle Crash, and now we lose. That's tough. Okay. That's not great, because now this becomes double target. We'd have missed the KO on the Farigiraf when we would have gotten a double KO, and we probably need to flinch here. Actually, it doesn't matter, because Pelipper comes out, and we lose off that, I think. Yeah, this is super annoying. That's why I like Ice Spinner on my Chien-Pao, but of course we can't do that as easily when we are playing against a... we're playing with a Amoonguss in the back, or a Rillaboom in the back. Yeah, that stinks. I think... Yeah, the Choice Band Koraidon lead was difficult. I couldn't have anticipated that. We would have lived the combo, but I probably could have covered it a bit better with Muddy Water. But at this point, they can easily just... do we have any way to win this? I don't think so, because they can Moonblast my Pelipper, knock it out. Yeah, I'll go for Muddy Water Fire Wrath, but yeah, they should just be able to Moonblast one of my Pokemon and close. Bummer, yeah. I feel like I've gotten close to or lost a lot of games because of Icicle Crash missing. That's definitely just a statistical anomaly in this live session, but you know, over the course of the tournament, that's going to happen a couple times, so got to be conscious of that in your game planning. Yeah, I think it made sense not to, like, still not to Terra. I think a Terra Ghost could have ended up being important on the Chien-Pao in the late game, but yeah, that's pretty frustrating because if we had the Chien-Pao, we could have taken a double knockout that turn and gotten a range superiority and figured out what they lock on the Koraidon, in which case we can probably close the game out that way. Even though they will have matched Tailwind, we'll have the faster Pokemon in the... Yeah, we'll let them play out the Collision Course animation or Flare Blitz. In that case, yeah, frustrating loss, but definitely a really cool set from them on the Choice Band Collision Course, or the Choice Band Helping Hand combo on the Koraidon. Does a ton of damage, clearly, knocking out one of the bulkiest physical Pokemon in the format. Even though it was super effective, we got rid of their Sun Boost, which would have let us live, and put them in Sucker Punch range, but unfortunately, the CB caught us off guard and won them that game. Okay, up against Colin, ranked 62 on ladder with a very cool team. They have Pincurchin, Ogerpon, Torkoal, Mienshao, Calyrex, Shadow, and for Rigorath. So that could be coaching Mienshao with the with those guys. Trick Room matchup I think is actually pretty strong for us here with the Moltres and the Wide Guard ability to beat Torkoal, Pelipper as well. That's really good for us. If I can just deal with that Ogerpon, we're good, and I think I should be able to do that reasonably well. Like Terra Fiery Wrath does the trick most of the time. I just have to navigate around this Ogerpon, which is doable. I think if I lead the Zamazenta, I pressure them really hard. The second turn of Trick Room, and Pelipper in the back to deal with the another source of Wide Guard, as well as being able to deal with the Torkoal, and then Pincurchin actually deals well with that. But probably Rillaboom. It could be the Chien-Pao as well. Just having a Focus Sash and Protect could be valuable. And maybe I go that route, but Terrain Control is valuable too. It should probably be Chien-Pao here, honestly. Yeah, I think Choice Band Rillaboom does better against the Farigiraf in that I can knock it out in one hit with the Wood Hammer. But against the rest of the Pokemon, being able to protect in a last turn Trick Room scenario is going to be more valuable, which I think is more the option I'm leaning here. With all the Wide Guard and Protects, I should have a couple of free turns to buy in Trick Room, and then might be able to close it out with a last turn Protect. Farigiraf Calyrex makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. I feel like I can fairly freely go for a Terra. Close Combat would be annoying. So I have a Foul Play knockout into that Calyrex, I'm pretty sure, if I want it. I can also go for a double flinch. I may go for that, in fact. And Heavy Slam is actually probably not going to be too strong into the Calyrex, so maybe I just go after the Farigiraf here. And I think I will do that. Yeah, I feel like this is a knockout unless they Terra Fairy on the Farigiraf, so maybe I should have Heavy Slammed that slot. In fact, that's probably what I should have done, because I've left myself... I bit my tongue, literally. I think I've left myself susceptible to a Terra Fairy on the Farigiraf, and even though I'll do a lot of damage with the Fiery Wrath, that could be a bad turn for me. Yeah, we probably need to flinch them then. Oh, ground. Huh, okay. Anyone's guess if they can live Body Press plus Fiery Wrath without a Citrus Berry, but they would have left me open to a Fiery Wrath. Wow. That takes that horribly. Oh my goodness. So I guess they expected me to go for the Fiery Wrath plus a Body Press in or Heavy Slam into the Calyrex and just take for granted that I could knock out the Farigiraf, but I really wanted to guarantee that knockout to get Sucker Punch in the late game, but they probably went for Terra Blast on the... the Calyrex, actually. Interesting. Torkoal. So Close Combat could be an issue now that I've used my Terra up. Turns out I shouldn't have used that, but that's fine. That's one turn of Trick Room. I should be able to double protect just fine. Double protect. Switch, maybe? Yeah, I think there's no real reason to be making really aggressive plays. We're up a Pokemon with Trick Room ended, and we actually probably knock out everything with Moltres if we stall Trick Room out. And with Wide Guard, it's going to be really hard for them to take knockouts with the Pokemon on their field. They're locking Flamethrower though, so that's good. We'll see if they're Close Combat on the on this guy. Glacial Lance, okay. Interesting. So they didn't reveal Close Combat, which doesn't mean they don't have it. But I think given there's 3 turns of Trick Room left, Switch, and Wide Guard should be sufficient here. Protect my Pelipper from the Glacial Lances or Close Combats or something like that in future turns should be solid. Yeah, I'm just worried about a CC surprise, essentially. But I think I'll live a Flamethrower pretty easily on the Zama. I could have gotten cute here, lived the Glacial Lance, knocked out their Calyrex on this turn, but I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to risk them maybe high horsepowering, or just going for Glacial Lance and doing a ton of damage to the Pelipper. We'll see how much this Flamethrower does. It is not a 2-hit KO, notably, and they high horsepower, so not a knockout, and they disconnect. pretty uncommon for them to disconnect on pretty high ranked opponent. So how that game was gonna go out, we'll see if that was me disconnecting. I don't think so, but so how that game was gonna go was I used wide guard that turn, but I couldn't go for another protect. But I believe there are 3 or 2 more turns of Trick Room. Regardless, I can protect the Pelipper or attack. I can Muddy Water that turn. And Glacial Lance probably doesn't knock me out. Interesting. Interesting communication error. But yeah, I feel like given they were locked into Flamethrower, their damage output wasn't that impressive, and they revealed high horsepower. As long as I get the Calyrex on the field, or the Moltres on the field with a Wide Guard Pokemon, which I will the next turn by protecting the Pelipper, letting the Zamazenta go down, and then going for Wide Guard in front of the Torkoal and the Calyrex, then I can just go for Fiery Wrath, knock out the Calyrex, deal huge damage to the Torkoal, and then close the game with most likely Chien-Pao Moltres in the back. Okay, up against Alex with a pretty strong team. They have Miraidon, Chien-Pao, Farigiraf, Tornadus, Urshifu, and Iron Hands. Hard to say what kind of Urshifu that's going to be, but we will see. Latios is kind of weird here. Could be really good or could be really bad, depending on the speed advantage. I do feel like Zama's decent against a lot of their Pokemon. It's just that gosh darn Miraidon are really threatening to deal with. I think Chien-Pao has to lead. It's almost typical you have to lead that against the Miraidon to get some initial damage off. Grassy Glide could be really solid if I knock out the Torn as well. I may go for that angle. And I think Zama lead is usually good. It's anything they can have. I can Terra Grass if I want to and knock out the Torn. Turn 1. And Rillaboom back is great against everything but Farigiraf. And who do I want in the back? That Chien-Pao is definitely threatening. I really have to be conscious of the Chien-Pao. I might have to get a late game Tailwind up and beat the Chien-Pao at its own game. With mine, it's going to be tricky, definitely. If they just lead Miraidon Torn or Fake Out, I guess Fake Out's not as good because it's a little more passive, but definitely a lot of scary stuff on their team. I think this is a situation where we probably don't auto-lock Protects in front of the Miraidon. Farigiraf Urshifu is interesting. Okay. Terra Water, or just Water Urshifu. Kind of feels like this is a switch angle. I don't want to take too much damage. And what do I want to do? Switch to Rillaboom feels correct, and then I could Terra Grass. They might U-turn as well. Ooh, U-turn's going to do a lot of damage there, won't it? I think I'll switch to Moltres. That feels like it's the least valuable if they don't attack into it. And then I'll Body Press. Who could come in? Chien-Pao maybe. I'll get some damage into that. So if they close combat my Moltres or Helping Hand Surging Strike, that'll do a lot, but I'll at least get the this guy down a fair bit. They're going to Helping Hand. I wonder if that's Surging Strikes into my Zamazenta. U-turn. Yeah, switching into Rillaboom there would have been quite bad. But we're going to hit a strong Body Press into pretty much anything, so I'm happy with that trade. Miraidon's not going to love that. It's now in Sucker Punch range, so if I knock out the Farigiraf, we're big chilling. It's actually in range of Icicle Crash as well. So they get the Electric Seed up, fair enough. That's going to do a lot of damage mitigation for them in this battle. But we do a ton to them back. They can Terra Ground Discharge, and I want to scout for that. Oops. Well, they can't knock me out this turn. Well, Terra Electric would. Yeah, Terra Electric plus... Even if I switched in Rillaboom, a Terra Electric Electro Drift with Helping Hand into my Zamazenta would knock me out. Unless I Terra Grass. So I want to preserve my option not to do that for another turn and maybe force a Terra out of them. Yeah. Because they often carry Farigiraf. Farigiraf often carry Terra Ground next to the Miraidons, but they are not doing that. They're going for a Terra Electric, which kind of makes my next turn probably easier. We'll see. Helping Hand. Oh, interesting. That might be Volt Switch. Are they going to try and get Trick Room up? If I had red, whichever they attack into and attack with the other, we obviously take a knockout. It was Drift. Okay. Wonder if they knock me out. Maybe, maybe not. I want to run that calc. I don't think so, even with Helping Hand. Like, it'd be very shocking if they did. Modest specs, Helping Hand, no terrain. With terrain, it might be a little spicy. No terrain. Yeah, it's not a knockout, so we can pretty safely go for that. And they're actually pinned on the field. Should I go for that? Do I need to waste my Terra yet? Maybe, maybe not. Timed out. Yeah, okay. I mean, we should... We won't live this if the... Yeah, if they Helping Hand. Okay. Yeah, I was like trying... Okay, they crit anyways, but that's annoying. Whatever, that's fine. That's pretty frustrating, given I just had Body Press as a KO. But I messed that up, that's on me. So can't be too mad about it. Icicle Crash will knock out them right on if we hit. We haven't used our Terra yet, so not all bad. We're going to hit them pretty hard here. It's probably just a switch though, right? I probably don't give them the switch. I just would hammer attack, I want to say. And hope they are not max speed. Yeah, the Farigiraf's Electric Seed is an issue as well. They're going to switch out. Plenty of things they could switch into here. Pretty much all will fall, yeah. So I could have attacked into Farigiraf, preserved my Focus Sash, but we'll take that KO. We should still be able to outspeed them right on, most likely. But knocking out the Farigiraf could be a challenge, honestly. Do they have anything that will be able to take a Wood Hammer on the next turn, though? Maybe not. We could play towards that. Foul Play actually would have done a ton to my Rilla if they go for that, but they don't go for it. So, all good. Let's see who they have. Yeah, losing the Terra there was just very stupid on my part. Because if I go for Terra Grass, Body Press, stay in on Moltres, yeah, I timed out. But Chien-Pao in is interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I'm max speed, so this isn't over. But it doesn't look great. Huh. Here's my win con. Get some damage into Farigiraf, right? Sacred Sword. This isn't quite over. Sucker Punch probably makes this over, actually. Because they should just be able to Sucker Punch or even Ice Spin or Dazzling Gleam, and given the HP on their Farigiraf, they win. But yeah, that was super, super bad, not going for the Terra. Just a lot of technical errors when you're using the calc and like not managing timer well, but we outspeed, which is cool. Oh, and they were banned, Life Orb, Focus banned, not Focus Ash. Who knows? We're gonna hit them with a very hard Wood Hammer here. So not quite over, actually. That does a lot of damage. That'll be in range for a Fire Wrath next turn. They go for Dazzle, which can't KO even with a crit, because we Terra'd. Okay. So now they kind of have to lock a spread move or go for Trick Room, which I don't think they can do because of Farigiraf, Moltres in the back. So we might have clutched this based on probably a speed tie. They could be Adamant Chien-Pao, but I don't think you would go Modest, and I don't think you would go both on this, essentially. We'll go Woodhammer into you if you give it to me. If you're going to give me that, I probably just protect. I don't know they are timid. I don't know whether they are timid or not on this guy. That's the issue. But I'm hoping they are. Okay, that's interesting. They're probably discharging then. Yeah, they do. That's... Maybe... That would have been worse for them, potentially. But yeah, now we have nothing to worry about on the Farigiraf. We're just going to double into that. Yeah, that guy. Nothing to say about it at this point. We're either speed tying or we're losing, essentially. I'll see if a Sacred Sword knocks out. I'm almost certain it doesn't, though, with Jolly Chien-Pao. If we low roll, we probably don't get it. Yeah, if we low roll, we don't get it. Do I want to risk that? If I was adamant, we would. I think we just go for this. We hope we outspeed. Farigiraf gets a double protect, but we just have to hit and outspeed. Comes down to this. We do hit and we do outspeed. That's a KO for sure. Nice, okay. So that's why you run the Jolly Chien-Pao these days, is a lot of them Miraidon are running the Modest set, because I believe Rajan did. I'm not entirely sure of that, but at least the team that I dropped had Modest, and maybe a lot of people are modeling theirs off of that. But at least giving yourself the chance, if not the certainty, that you'll outspeed and be able to hit first in these late games is super appreciative. Or super appreciated. And it's definitely great that we were able to win that game, even though we did whiff our Terra on the Zamazenta, which, given we saw the Pokemon in the back, we probably just beat them. Knocking out their Miraidon. They can't hit us with the Urshifu that hard, and if they have a Focus Sash, if they don't have Focus Sash Chien-Pao, we'll always be able to hit that with Sacred Sword or Body Press on a turn, so really happy with how we were able to close that out, even though we needed them to have some weird sets on the Chien-Pao to get there. Okay, I believe this is the team that, I don't know if it was Oliver Eskelin or Nils Dunlop that were able to top cut the regional championship with, or at least day 2. I don't recall if they top cut actually. But yeah, really strong team. It has a Regidrago, which is quite cool, but Zamazenta should be solid against a lot of their Pokemon in Rain outside of the Urshifu. We just got to be conscious of using our Terra up early. I think we can use the Moltres to set up our Tailwind, though, in front of them. Latios feels strong as well to just threaten them with Icy Wind immediately. I think they're Focus Sash on the Whimsicott in this case, and not Covert Cloak, which means Icy Wind's actually pretty strong. I'm a little wary about leading this, given they could go for a Terra Dragon Tailwind combo and really mess me up. So maybe it should just be the Chien-Pao lead. And yeah, I don't know. Tricky. Probably Zama in the back. Maybe it is just Zama plus Zama Moltres. Feels good. Pelipper in the back to deal with wide guard pressure. Chien-Pao has to come, I think. And then maybe Rillaboom, actually. Playing this pretty offensive. Not even bringing the Pelipper to deal with their... to wide guard in front of their Regidrago. Because I know on this team it's actually Terra Dragon, Dragon Pulse, Draco Meteor. Which means they can... Pelipper's known for carrying wide guard. They'll spot that a mile away and just knock it out with a Draco or a Dragon Pulse. And I don't even have Focus Sash. DD Terapagos, so I think they are specs on this one. Let me run that, though. I kind of, maybe cheating a bit, but I'm going to look up their team. They did the same thing I did, looked at the top teams, and built it in-game with Pokemon they had on them, so... It was Nils, and this Terapagos is... Yep, Psychic Seed plus a Trick Room on, and Terapagos is Choice Specs. Okay. They could Stellar Terra. I'm not going to Stellar Terra, definitely not. Flamethrower, Earth Power, that's not going to do that much damage, I think. I don't think they can even knock me out, so I might just go for a Body Press Fiery Wrath. Should be solid. They have a switch into that. Not really. Should I Tailwind though? They might. If they go for Terra Starstorm, Helping Hand, okay. I don't think Earth Power KOs. Terra Starstorm might. I guess that's why I should have gone for a Fiery... Oh, I actually attacked before them, so that's really good. I'm surprised they're not max speed. They should be outspeeding me if they're modest max speed, but given they have a Trick Room component on their team, it makes sense that they don't. But we break the shell. If they Terra Starstorm, they'll knock out my Moltres, which is annoying, but they won't have a lot of offensive pressure into my Zamazenta if they do that. And we flinch them. Yeah, that's really bad for them. I'm curious what they would have gone for there. Because I'll live in Earth Power. Anything else probably lets me... like, they have to bring in Whimsicott to stop me from getting Tailwind up, in my opinion. So I feel like anything they would have gone for there, knocking out Moltres would have been not bad because they're locked into a move that can't hit the Zama, free body press in that slot. Yeah, bad flinch for them, obviously, but I think they would have been in a tricky spot given I got the Fiery Wrath off first and broke their sash. Not their sash, but you know what I mean. We'll see if we can burn out a Terastallization from them. We will be able to get terrain advantage in a bit, but no... I think I'll go Tailwind. They'll have to go for a Terra to knock out my Zama, which is annoying because I'm not Terra Water at this point, but it is what it is. Oh, they're Terastallizing that. That feels like a mistake. Because I can Wide Guard in front of that, and if I get Tailwind up, Foul Play is going to do a lot of damage to the Ogre Pawn. Like, I might even switch into the Chien-Pao to do it. Like, do something really cute. Just knock them out in one hit on the Ogre Pawn, but probably not the best play. Alright, we're getting Tailwind up. We will take a lot of damage, but we'll be knocked into Berserk range, which I'm happy about. And they actually can't protect their Terapagos, and at this point I don't think they have a knockout into my Zamazenta with Ivy Cudgel because of the defense boost, even though I don't have Rain Up. If they had been able to Terra Fire, they'd probably knock me out, but without a crit, now I should live. And that's not even a 2-hit KO, which might even be bad for us. But this should just be Body Press, Fiery Wrath, and only Whimsicott can switch in on that. So we'll take the damage. Given we have Tailwind up, this is fine. We'll hit the Fiery Wrath, and then in the subsequent turn, if they had switched in the Whimsicott there, oh, that actually covers for them not getting knocked out, which is cool. So yeah, if they had switched in Whimsicott there, we would have brought them in range of another Fiery Wrath, I think, and then also brought their Ogre Pawn in range of a Foul Play. So we could have Foul Play, Heavy Slam, taken a knockout, or done with their Tailwind. So yeah, I feel like this is a very good matchup into Terapagos Tailwind, at least this variant, and we're kind of showing off here. Although we got a flinch, they would have had to have locked into a normal type move in front of the Zamazenta while we got Tailwind up, and that is kind of a scary proposition against them, or against us. So last Pokemon they could have would be who? Regidrago. With Focus Sash, I should have that covered, especially with Tailwind up. Yeah. Regidrago it is. So at this point, no reason to Terra the Zama. Really no reason to Terra the Chien-Pao either, so am I going to Terra the Rillaboom in the back? I actually could. That could be some solid damage. So I feel like this is just Body Press, Icicle Crash, or Sucker Punch or something. Or just Body Press here, and then Icicle Crash the Regidrago. They can follow me. If I miss the Icicle Crash, I could lose, but if I hit, then I just knock out the Ogre Pawn. Okay, yeah. We hit into the Regidrago, they don't follow me, and with Tailwind up and the Sword of Ruin, you're going to see the pure power of the Zamazenta. Yup. I honestly think even without the Fire Wrath damage, that might be a knockout. I'll calc it since this battle is all but over with Tailwind up. Yeah, I guess I should have gone for Sucker Punch there, but it should probably be a forfeit from them. Zama, Sword of Ruin, plus Ogre Pawn. It's actually not a knockout from full, which kind of surprises me. If they're no bulk, it does 80 to 98. Yeah, they cancel out. No chance, especially with Focus Sash and a faster Body Press. They can't get a high power Dragon Energy. And even if they do, I have a Steel type on the board. So good game to them. I think that's an excellent showcase for the Moltres mode against kind of slower paced Tailwind teams. Even if they had led the Torn, they're not doing that much damage with Like Terra Starstorm probably, I think, doesn't knock out my Moltres even from Specs single target. So they have to go for Bleak Wind, probably get a special defense or a speed drop to prime me for a KO. In which case I then don't get Tailwind up, but I can still just body press them the next turn and then knock out their Tornadus with an Icicle Crash. So it's a really hard matchup for them, I think. Or not Tornadus, it was Whimsicott, so that was always going to be really tricky for them to win, I think. Okay, up against X, who is 114th on ladder with a pretty interesting team. They have Calyrex Ice Pelipper, which is a common comp with Raging Bolt and Pelipper, or a Raging Bolt and Urshifu, but they have an Ogerpon and a Tinglu trying to tech out some matchups, it looks like. That's fair enough. I do feel like the Moltres is still pretty strong, outside of if they lead Urshifu or Raging Bolt, but if they do that, I can lead my Latios and be in decent shape. Or just lead, actually they have no Intimidate. I'm going to abuse that with my Rillaboom. Yeah, I'm going to abuse the heck out of that. Zamazenta's a great switch in the back, and then I don't think Latios is good. I think Sucker Punch is going to be quite good here, Icicle Crash as well. I don't know if I need Wide Guard. Yeah, the issue with Wide Guard on Pelipper is they'll just have the Raging Bolt or something else that can knock it out next to it. So I'll only get one turn of Wide Guard pressure, whereas Zamazenta can maybe get a couple. So yeah, the Moltres is also just excellent against Calyrex Ice teams. Like defensively, you can tear out of your flying or your ice weakness and then knock it out with a foul play. It is Urshifu lead plus this guy. I think that's fine by me. I can kind of just like Grassy Glide that switch if I want to. Yeah, Raging Bolt is kind of sketchy. No lie. I think I'll Fire Wrath Grassy Glide though. I think it covers defensively most switch-ins and has a chance to flinch. They're going to switch, maybe knowing I'm Choice Band, otherwise you could stay in there. Or, I mean, it could have just been Fake Out, right? Raging Bolt, good to get all these Pokemon out of the way, figure them out, but they are terastallizing their Tinglu defensively. We didn't go into that, but they are covering for me, trying to cover that. Fire Wrath damage is now going to do not amazing, but decent damage. Foul Play also will do something to the Tinglu. You can high horsepower that late in the game, but we can't knock it out now. Fire Wrath gonna hopefully flinch something. Yeah, that's actually a 2-hit KO on the Raging Bolt. That's interesting. They Ruination. Okay. We get the boost, though. Should I just Terra Dark? Hold up. I could Terra Dark. That'd be kind of cute. So another Ruination could be a Ruinous, but I kind of just want to Terra Dark, though. Like, I feel like that's going to knock them out, and I can switch into Zama defensively. Or just keep it in. I'm doing so much more damage this turn. I think I will just keep it in and Grassy Glide the Tinglu. Fire Wrath. Maybe it doesn't knock them out. If it doesn't, do I lose? I don't think so, still. It's not great. I can Grassy Glide it next turn, though. So, I now have the Berserk boost up, which means I'm doing double damage. Not double, I'm doing 1.5 damage, and I'm going for the Terra, which gives me a 1 point... or actually a 2 times boost compared to a 1.5, so I'm now doing about 33% more on my stabs plus the Terra. That does nothing to the Tinglu, but so I probably should have just covered the Raging Bolt Thunderclap. They don't knock me out though. And we're going to get the Fire Wrath and put them in range of a Glide next turn. Doesn't do enough damage to the Tinglu, unfortunately. And they are Citrus. Uh-oh, okay. Ruination probably coming out here. Ruination, that's fine. Who could they have in the back now? They've already used their Terra. Probably, I mean, most likely Urshifu Calyrex in the back, but we have to prepare for the possibility that it's something else. How much does Foul Play do to Tinglu? Probably not a KO. I have a lot of turns of grassy terrain though. They can stomp here. The damage output's limited, unfortunately, into the Ting-Lu, so what I might do is just go for a... How much is Foul Play doing? Probably a lot more. But I can flinch them, and the damage isn't that important. Yeah, and I thought they were AV on this guy, so we'll take that. They might not know we're banded, but I feel like they should suspect it. Fire Wrath going to do a lot single target now, not a knockout, but similar to what Foul Play would have done, I imagine. Oh yeah, so if we flinch them, they're cooked. Whirlwind, okay. So we lose our Berserk boost, but I'm honestly fine with that. A knockout would have been worse. So what are they? Ruination, probably no... Like Stomp would have got me. It's out into the Chen Pao, okay. It's not ideal, truth be told, but it's not the worst, because I can reset Grassy Terrain, and Urshifu can't come in here. If they want to set up Trick Room, what can they do? If they're not Scarf Urshifu, things could get dicey. But this feels like just a double up into the Ting-Lu, no? Would they be Protect, Ruination, Whirlwind? Surely you don't have room on the set, right? I guess it doesn't matter, and I can just Icicle Crash switch into Zamazenta and reset Grassy Terrain. If they ever get Trick Room up, that's fine. I can Grassy Glide them, Body Press, and probably close from there. It's just a matter of if they are Protect on the Urshifu, I think. Icicle Crash is going to be close, but should knock out Ting-Lu if we hit. Yeah. This Pokemon's a monster. Never mind. They Glacial Lance and not Trick Room. Perfect. That's not GG, but it's going to be pretty close to it. Oh, they Fissure into the Chen Pao. That's fine. That hitting would have been better, truthfully. Should just be... I think I just beat the Calyrex 1v1 if I don't give it too many attack boosts. So this should just be Sacred Sword or Icicle Crash Body Press, I think, into the Ting-Lu slot. How many turns of Grassy? One more turn of Grassy. Okay. Let's just get you Calyrex in range of a knockout. If I hit the Icicle Crash, I don't get fissured, and they're likely to switch to Urshifu in it anyways. And while I could have knocked that out with Body Press, I don't want to give them Urshifu in Trick Room. Or I don't want to give them Ting-Lu spamming fissures in Trick Room, because that is potentially how I lose the game. This is definitely in Grassy Glide range, and we hit a huge Body Press into the Calyrex, yeah. High horsepower, that has to crit. It does not. Fine with me, brother. Okay. So that's one of the reasons I was trying to get to this spot, is now the Calyrex is in range of Sucker Punch. And we have Grassy Terrain leaving the field. We'll always be able to get the Rillaboom in to maybe even knock that out. So we Sucker Punch and we Body Press this guy. They can set up Trick Room, but if they do that, I guess they'll get Ting-Lu, but I'll be able to go for Wide Guard plus Grassy Glide, and I think they need to hit a Fissure and live the Grassy Glide for that things to pan out in any way. But yeah, weird Whirlwind, Fissure, Ting-Lu. Calyrex protects, fine by me. Like I said, you can take the Chen Pao. You can take the Zamazenta. I feel like you don't with close combat, but you do in this instance. Cool. But now I do just get Sucker Punch, Grassy Glide into your Urshifu, and I think with the terrain we're just golden at this point. But it would have been probably more ideal to lock into a Moltres endgame if I could reach it, but unable to do that here. I just Sucker Punch because that should knock out Calyrex unless they are max defense, and if it doesn't, what then? I don't know. I can't imagine it living. If it doesn't, then they beat me pretty easily, yeah. Ooh, they're going to get enough healing back to maybe win. They protect instead of Trick Rooming. I'm starting to suspect they might not even have it. But that should knock out Ting Lu in 2. Yep, in 1, Choice Band plus Sword of Ruin is one heck of a drug. So now we just have to Grassy Glide the Urshifu. That's fine. Fire Wrath closes. Coaching Trick Room could be tricky. Genuinely. Like, that's maybe my one fear here. Coaching Trick Room would maybe lose me the game, no? Because they should get bulky enough to beat me? Is that... No, they can't Coaching Trick Room because I'll hit them with... I'm not Sucker Punching their Urshifu. This isn't a Sucker Punch read on them because I can Grassy Glide that. But they're healing a lot. Aqua Jet, that's fine. Wasn't Sucker Punching you, and they go for a Trick Room here. So if they get enough double protects, there's a chance, but feels unlikely. Because I'll always be able to have Sucker Punch active or Grassy Glide. Or like I'll have one of them, and I don't think they will be able to deal with that. They're maybe going to be able to heal out of Sucker Punch range, but Sucker Punch, Choice Band, Grassy Glide range, unlikely. While they are taking away on the turns of the Grassy Terrain and healing themselves up, I am also healing. So, gonna be tricky. They're gonna protect. I don't even really have to look at Grassy Terrain turns. I'm gonna be able to heal out of Icicle or Glacial Lance range because they haven't gotten a boost on the Calyrex. And at some point, just protect, switch to my Rillaboom, and reset the cycle. As long as I have Sword of Ruin on the field, I'm chilling. Let's look at the turns. 2 more turns. Sucker Punch, Grassy Glide. Well, this doesn't knock out. I could maybe lose, but I doubt it. Yeah, we're gonna see how much Choice Band does, because they probably just cycle double protects. Or try to get triple protects and stuff like that to stall out the terrain, but yeah, we'll see how much this does. A lot of damage. Not a knockout, but close enough. At this point, Sucker Punch, easy KO. And they have to attack here. And if they don't, they actually lose out of Trick Room. Yeah, GG. Close one. Really interesting Ting Lu set that made things kind of weird, but I think the strength of that Terra... Like, the Terra choices and the moveset choices on this team just make the damage multiply way faster than you're expecting. Like, I really doubt they expected their Assault Vest Raging Bolt to take a Grassy Glide and a Fire Wrath and to be at 50 and in range of, like, maybe the Berserk follow-up hit. So, yeah, really crazy damage output from this team, and we were able to beat a Trick Room team, even while they had Trick Room up and like one of the most bulky Pokemon in the metagame. We're still able to close out against it without much trouble, just spamming priority. So that'll do it for our Battles of the Day featuring Michael Kelsch's regional championship winning team. Like I said in the intro, if Michael has posted the updated rental code with the actual team that he used with his EV spreads, I'll have that in the comment section, so definitely check that out. And if you enjoyed these battles, please subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, peace y'all.